We are just a few weeks from hitting the road and starting our adventure. But before we do hit the road, there are a few maintenance items and small upgrades that need to be done. And then most importantly, we have to tell you guys where we are going this year. So stay tuned and let's get into it.
Okay, this is honestly like my favorite time of year because while I love our stationary setup and being in Key West for a lot of the year, it is starting to get really hot here. It is approaching, well, it is the end of May and we're looking forward to take our RV to someplace a little bit cooler. We do love being in the mountains and kind of escaping some of this heat, but we have some projects that we need to take care of before we're able to hit the road. So our first main big project that we took care of while we've been in Key West was getting this Ford Maverick. And while it's been a great vehicle to use here, we've had to spend the last month or two prepping this to be able to be flat towed by our rig. So we installed a base plate on the vehicle, did all the electrical required, as well as installed a supplemental braking system on the Maverick. After we did all that, we did a test drive with the full rig setup, and that was our last video. And honestly, it got us really excited to take this on the road and travel with. But it also identified a few things that we needed to fix in order to get everything road ready.
So this is getting into the maintenance and upgrades needed in order to hit the road. So in theory, we could have hit the road with how we have everything set up, but we always like tuning in our rig as best as possible. From doing our flat tow test, we identified that there was a bit of what felt like a bit of sway, I guess, in the back of the RV. And this was something that we noticed whenever we'd encounter high winds, like a semi that would pass by us. And from doing some research, pretty quickly came to the conclusion that we ideally should upgrade our anti-sway bar. So that was a project that really I can't take any credit for. Brendan spent like 2 full days being just under the RV. The anti-sway bar, this is our back tire here, is really all just located behind this rear tire. And if you look, you can see those the shiny nuts there. That's the new piece that was installed. So that was a whole project in itself, but it beefed up the system. So overall, that should be providing more stability for when we're towing, even when we're driving on our own. So honestly, very, very excited about that upgrade. Thank you, Brendan. And speaking of an upgrade that has made RV life a lot more enjoyable is today's sponsor, Kohree. Kohree sells RV accessories and products, but today we are highlighting their RV leveling blocks. So when we used to level our camper, we would use those traditional Lego style type of leveling blocks that you just throw one, kind of guess the height until you get something that seems sort of level. But with the curved style of leveling blocks, these can level out anywhere from 1/2 inch all the way up to 5 inches. And the thing that's really cool is that you don't need to guess of how many of those blocks you need. You just stick it under, start rolling it up until your camper's level, and then you stick it underneath. These specifically are upgraded to have an anti-skid design, so that way you shouldn't have any of those slippage issues. Guys, we will have a link in our description down below. If you care to check them out, you can find them on Amazon. Kohree, thanks for sponsoring this video, and let's get back to it.
For a little bit of added context, we actually used to carry a Honda ADV on the back of our rig here. So that actually had a lot of tongue weight down on the rear of the vehicle. So now that we're flat towing a Maverick, our suspension geometry is a little bit different. We're hoping that it gives us a little bit added ground clearance and not as much bouncing on the tail end. But we actually did just recently sell our Honda ADV, which is a little bittersweet. I loved having the bike, but it just doesn't make sense to have. We can't have too many items. We don't like that. Pop that hood.
Pop that hood, baby. Oh. Okay, so like I said, the next item is doing an oil change, which we're gonna do right now. With the oil change, something to keep in mind, I would say that we try to do an oil change every 5,000 miles or so. So this past year when we went up and did the Northeast, we actually did, I think, about 6,000 miles on that trip. So we were planning to do it when we got back, which in theory, we could have done it right when we got back, but instead we have pushed it off until a few weeks till our departure.
Which one is it?
Please, just give me a second.
Last year, I tried to surprise Gabby and do something nice, and I accidentally pulled the plug on the transmission pan, so did an impromptu transmission fluid change, as well as an oil change last year, so I am a little bit scarred to make that mistake again. That's on there good.
I just like punched the RV. Guys, oil's looking like chocolate sauce.
So while we're waiting for that to drain, let's talk about our travel a little bit, because if it were up to me, we probably would have been gone Key West by now. It is already like past the point where we don't like being outside and sweating all day. It is late May, and we are actually not planning to leave until late June. And the reason for that is because we actually have a trip planned starting next week actually, which is coming up very soon. But Gabby has basically a work conference in Italy. We decided to parlay it into a little bit of a personal trip for us as well. So because of that trip, which is kind of a 2-week gap right in the middle of June, we decided to postpone our RV travels. Most likely this year in the RV, the trip is gonna be a little bit shorter.
And in Italy, I'm actually very excited. We're gonna be going to 2 different places is the plan. We'll fly into Milan, and then we'll spend, I think, like 5 days in Riva del Garda, Italy. There's a little town there called Arco, which is like a huge rock climbing spot. And then also, hopefully we'll be renting a car and going to the Dolomites. So we'll be experiencing those for just a couple days. I so wish we could spend so much more time out there, but the plan is hopefully to create some content and share that with you guys so we can take you along with those travels too.
Just a little drip left, so I think we're gonna call that.
Okay, that's quite tight.
Hey.
Oh God, I don't want to get that on my fingers. Quick, quick, quick! Ah! And
It's a bloodbath.
it is a bloodbath. Where's my paper towel?
Gabby was talking a big game.
Big game. Hey, I didn't get any on my face.
Now, there's actually a couple other upgrades that we are looking to make for this year of travel. And while we're waiting for that oil to drain, it's a good time to talk about it. The first is actually what I have in this little bag. It is a TPMS kit. So we actually bought this close to 3 years ago now, I think. All it comes with basically is this monitor, which is solar powered, or you can plug it in. It displays the readings from each of these 6 basically valve stem caps. The reason we didn't use these before is because when we put these on, we had a tire lose pressure completely. So we didn't want to risk it again by making an upgrade that was going to cause our tires to go flat. But I think it's been enough time now that I am maybe naive enough to try this again, because we've gotten lucky enough to not have a flat tire while we've been driving in this thing. There was one time we noticed we had a flat after getting somewhere, but I am super diligent on checking it. Literally every time we hit the road, I'm bringing out our little Milwaukee air compressor and checking the tires of everything to make sure that none are too low or too high. But instead of doing that every time, hopefully a little kit like this can make our job easier. The other upgrade we are looking into installing this year, which is actually a bit of a re-upgrade because we had this last year and the one that we purchased broke on us. Basically, all this does is it gives us a secondary display that we can attach to the dash of our RV. It is a way bigger screen than comes stock in the RV, so it allows us to do 2 things. One, it allows us to show navigation as we're driving, which is super nice to have on a screen like this versus having to look at our phone. And then 2, it allows us to play our music, so you can play Spotify or Pandora or whatever you use from your phone. So I'm gonna get this installed really quick and show you what it looks like, but if you have an older rig, this has been actually probably one of the biggest upgrades that we've done to improve our driving experience so far.
So I splurged on the K&N filter. My dad always raised me on K&N being the best, and sometimes I buy like the cheapest ones. I was like, $18 versus 10, why not? And it comes with a little removal nut. It strictly says do not use it for tightening, only for removal. So in theory, you wouldn't need one like this to remove it. Only the best for this guy. Like, oh, okay. And just like that, the oil change is complete. It always feels good to do an oil change. It's like a simple task, you get it done. But that brings us on to the last thing that we want to bring up is where we are going this summer. And guys, I am so excited about this trip because Brendan asked me, it was like a couple days ago, he asked if this was our last RV trip. where would you want to go? And the places that we are going was my answer. So without any further ado, drum roll please, we will be going to Utah. And guys, we are so excited, especially for the Mighty 5. So out in Utah, there's 5 national parks and we plan to check them all out. I've said before in previous videos that Mount Rainier is by far my most favorite national park I've ever been to, and I'm always welcomed by comments saying that, okay, that might be the case until you've been to Utah. So I'm so excited to see if that really is the case. But even so, I mean, the photos that I've seen of the parks out there are just gorgeous. There's plentiful rock climbing opportunities, and now we have the Mavericks, so now we can explore the area in. So really at this point, we just know of where we're going, as in Utah. We don't know our exact route there, and we don't know the route back just yet. So there is some stuff for us to figure out. But guys, if you do have any recommendations for the area of Utah or surrounding, please do share and drop those in the comments section down below. So guys, we're definitely taking you on some adventures with us. First up to Italy, and then across the next 3 months or so, we'll be heading out to Utah. Can't wait to share these adventures with you, and we will catch you guys next week.